You're nervous. We're going to have the customary whistle on. Good evening, everybody. And good night. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming along. It's quite emotional for me to see you all here. It means a lot that you've all come out. It means a lot that so many people have been involved in this project. It's not been simple. We've had lots of issues along the way. I'm quite amazed that we actually ended up with a film, to be honest with you. But the people in this room and a few people who unfortunately aren't here or are in the second viewing represent everything that went right with the film. So huge, huge thanks to everyone for that. I'm going to hand over in a minute to a gentleman called Robin Ewart. He's from the Prostate Cancer Charity, and he's kindly said he'll say a few words this evening. Obviously, the purpose of the film was to raise money for the charity, so he's just going to give you a little bit of background about what prostate cancer is, because I think that's important to get the message out there. And then we will roll the film, and then I'm going to hide. So just a couple of other points to note. We will be selling some DVDs if people want them. We haven't made them up because we weren't sure what demand there would be. My wife, who was shepherding people in and out, I don't know where she is, there, if you could see her afterwards, if you're interested in that. We've also got some T-shirts and mugs, again, to try and raise some money for the charity. So, got to model them. If there's any interest in that, please go and see Amanda. I'm not going to pick out individuals to thank because there's just too many, and if I miss anyone, I will be mortified, and I'm sure they will be mortified too. But I will just mention our superstar in the corner, James Payton. If you could just stand up, James. You'll see in a minute what I put him through for this film, so he really deserves that applause. But James has very kindly donated a picture from Harry Potter, which he's signed, and we're going to run a raffle, again, to raise some money for the charity. So if you're interested in that, please let Amanda know and she'll fill you in with the details. So basically, thanks everybody, and if you need anything else, see Amanda. And I'm now going to hand over to Robin, who's going to run through some details on prostate cancer and the charity. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dominic. My name is Robin Ewart. I'm a volunteer with the Prostate Cancer Charity. I don't actually work for them, they don't pay me at all. I'm also chairman of the Cotswolds Prostate Cancer Support Group, and a little bit more of that later on. So the words prostate and cancer, the two main ones, I'll come on to the charity at the end. Firstly, very simply, the prostate. I want to tell you about that. It is a gland, and it is men only. So the girls, you don't have one, but it's important. It is about the size of a walnut. It weighs about 50 grams, and it's in the shape of a donut. Okay, so you can imagine what it is. And it's about there, all right? It sits below, can everyone see? It sits, no, not that, no, it's just there. It sits below the bladder, okay? And it has a very important function, because without it, none of us would be here. It is involved in the male reproductive process. It produces the fluid that takes semen and sends it on its journey. So no prostate, no babies. It's really quite as simple as that. But fortunately, all men are born with one, and it is a very useful piece of equipment. Although you can't see it, you can't feel it, you can't touch it, you can't go near it yourself. You have to rely on the medics for that. So, prostate cancer. Cancer is a very hard word, a very nasty word, a very unpleasant word, and rightly so. Prostate cancer in this country, there are about 35,000 men each year are diagnosed with prostate cancer. That's quite a lot of men. About 10,000 men a year die from prostate cancer. That's a jumbo jet every week. So that's quite a lot of men, think of it that way, okay? But prostate cancer is an unusual cancer in some ways, in that there are many different types of prostate cancer. On the one hand, over here, is one we call the pussycat, which is very gentle, and you can have it for a very long time, and about 10% of all men who die of old age in their 90s have got prostate cancer, but it is not life-threatening. It's a very gentle one. And then over here on the other side, you've got something that we refer to as the tiger. And that is thoroughly unpleasant, and that can be terminal within 12 months of diagnosis. The problem is that when you are diagnosed, at the point of diagnosis, you don't know whether you've got one of those or one of those. And that's where the medics have to work extremely hard, and we all have to try very hard to help everyone to get there. So how do you know if you've got prostate cancer? I want to tell you a little story. On the 8th of June, 1998, it was my birthday. It's actually my birthday on the 8th of June every year. And my brother called me. He doesn't call me very often. He's my older brother. Dear boy, he says, happy birthday. That's nice. Happy birthday. By the way, you've probably got cancer. That's nasty. So, you know, now I was faced with this very unpleasant piece of news on what was meant to be a lovely day. In fact, he probably saved my life, because he said, go and get yourself checked out. So I did, and I had prostate cancer. But I had no symptoms. And which is why I'm telling you the story, because about a quarter of all men who end up with prostate cancer have no symptoms at all. They can't feel anything, they don't feel bad in any way, shape or form. So just because you haven't got any symptoms doesn't mean you're free of it. So what are the symptoms? Well, most of them are to do with what I call men's plumbing. Girls, you'll understand the plumbing bit. Well, the men don't, but men's plumbing, something wrong with your waterworks. Either you are having to get up in the middle of the night 2 or 3 times, or you can't go when you want to, and you think you've finished and you haven't, and you want to finish, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There are lots of areas around there. Doesn't mean you've got cancer. What it means, you've got a plumbing problem. There are other symptoms like blood in the urine, which is quite difficult to detect, and lower back pain and pain in the groin, which is easier. Don't be fooled, gentlemen, just to think that you've been gardening or something and you're hurt down the back. It could be cancerous. I was out working this morning in Sainsbury's in Barnwood and spoke to a gentleman who said, yeah, my father had back pain for 6 years and he didn't do anything about it. Finally, he went to the doctor, but by then it was too late and he was dead within 6 months. He had had prostate cancer for 6 years and didn't do anything about it. And that's bad news. So earlier this month, we, the Cotswold Prostate Cancer Support Group, staged a public event, a public PSA event, where we invited members of the public in Cirencester to come and have a free blood test at our expense. 196 men had that test that evening. We know, I know the results, 10 of those 196 will have what's called a red letter. You either get a green, an amber, or a red letter. Green is fine, amber is, watch it a bit, red, go and see your doctor. 10 of those men had a red letter. Half of them will be diagnosed with prostate cancer. And because they will be caught early, those 5 men should be able to cure them. But it's not just those guys, it is their wives and their children and their brothers and their cousins and maybe their parents as well. Because there is a family link, a familial link in prostate cancer. If you have a brother who's got it, you are more likely to have it yourself. If you have a father who's had it, you are more likely to have it. So, terribly briefly, to summarize, if I may, ultra quick, it's a funny little thing, prostate cancer. It's very individual. Each one is treated on their own. You can't see it, you can't feel it. You can have it without any symptoms, and you can have it through family connections. So I will ask you, gentlemen, take control of your body. Don't wait until it's too late. By the time you get to age 50, you should be thinking about having a PSA test, or younger if you have a family connection. And if you have problems getting up in the night or what have you, don't ignore it. And I would ask the ladies, if you're woken up in the middle of the night by your husband, because he's always wanting to go to the loo, and he won't do anything about it, you pick up the phone. If you care about him, you pick up the phone, you make out the appointment for him. Okay? So the prostate cancer charity, it is in business to raise awareness of prostate cancer because far too many men are far too ignorant of prostate cancer. We all need to raise awareness of it, and we need to help people who are affected by it with helplines and all sorts of literature, etc. And we need to raise money for more funding for the future. In a nutshell, that's prostate cancer. Thank you.
Okay, some very sort of important and serious messages there, but thank you very much to Robin for getting it across, because I do think it's incredibly important, and us blokes are pretty rubbish at this stuff, so take it seriously. Now, the moment you've hopefully all been waiting for, let's have some fun.
And this is my dad.